Retirement is financial suicide, says Larry Kotlikoff. Like, what? Larry had written his book with Scott Burns back, 2007 or something like that. And this was a fundamental book for me to read. And it really helped me change my my financial planning skill set. 100%. One of the most important books of my life. I get notes upon notes on here. Notes with just page numbers and reference. Just it's such a... Now, I've recommended this book so many times, and this is because it was just common sense stuff, man. And I'm not going to get too deep in it, but the idea of consumption smoothing, which a lot of people don't recognize. And consumption smoothing is simple. Josh, you got 4 kids at home. You know what I'm saying? Your wife stays home. You got a big fat mortgage. You got heavy bills on terms of property tax, on terms of auto insurance because you got 4 kids. Costs of, to feed the kid, whole thing. So your consumption is way up here, all right? And when you retire, it's just you and your better half, your consumption will be way down here. So what we want to do is smooth it. Smooth it. So that way you're not saying... I cannot stress enough. And that doesn't mean reduce consumption now, but it just means, look, don't kick yourself in the butt that you're not saving enough, because in the future, your needs will be so low that to base your future needs on today's consumption expenditures is just freaking idiotic, man. Because by then it'll be me and Shar in a 3-bed, 2-bath house, a whole hell of a lot less on property taxes, a whole hell of a lot less on auto insurance, a whole hell of a lot less on food, on clothing, on all the day-to-day stuff that we're spending now. Why? Because it'll just be us empty nesters. That's it. Now, will we spend a little bit more on travel? Probably not, because it'll just be she and I, as her and me, whatever. And we're not going to be, when you got to travel with 6 kids, that ain't cheap. Or 4 kids, a family of 4, 6, that ain't cheap, man. And you got to feed them the whole thing. So our travel probably go down. I don't eat out that much anyway. And so that's not going to all of a sudden go up that much. So the idea, I got to base my retirement plan on my consumption up here, when it's just freaking stupid. And that's what this book said. That's why it's so fundamental. It's like that in Ty Bernicki's reality retirement plan article they had written in the Journal for Financial Planning in 2005. Completely fundamentally life-changing. So a few months ago, Larry had an article attributed to him, and I can't remember what it was. And I said, there's no way Larry Kotlikoff had written this article. No way. But and it was disappointing. I said, why would he allow his name to be used there? But then we come up with this, and I just said, "What? I guess the way to sell more books or get more." One sec. I guess the way to sell more books or get more notoriety on your new book is to scare people, and I just it's so disappointing. Well, there's a BU, the most famous grad from the BU, Boston University Economics Department is AOC, that famed economist. Anyway, I don't want to use that to bash Larry, but I kind of chuckle. A guy from Boston University whose most claim to fame from the economics department is AOC. Larry, the brash BU economics professor and social security expert, doesn't mince words. And look, Larry, he called Trump supporters white supremacists back in 2016. And that's freaking idiotic. But see, I'm unlike the liberals. I say, all right, well, I'm open-minded to chat with people. And I actually interviewed Larry in 2018. One of my first interviews I ever done. It was great. And even though I was a Trump supporter, and I still will support him over Snippy Joe for sure. But the idea that I'm a white supremacist, it's like, oh my God, I can't talk to Larry because it's just stupid. It's ways to get your name out there. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just dumb. Anyway, so Larry says, we Americans are financially sick, he writes in his new book. See, that's the whole point. New book, I got to get I got to create some kind of aura around this book. I'm going to say, you're going to die. My next book, I'm going to write a book. If you eat carrots, you will die. And then everyone will buy it because like, what? Carrots? All right, so he says, as a group, we undersave, underinsure, underdiversify, pay for bad investment advice, relying on dying early, retire too soon, take Social Security at the first chance, free far too little equity trapped in your home, borrow to invest stocks, convince ourselves that stocks are safe long-term, and we live house poor. It's so... Marriage, divorce, college, and other lifestyle decisions we make irk him as well. All right. But it's a lack of savings, especially for retirement, that gets under his skin. All right. So this is the lack of logical reasoning for Larry here. Is I just get again the economics profession, their desperation to be they have physics envy, and the physicists, of course, have mathematics envy. So the economics profession wants so badly to say we're logical, we have all these calculations, and I'm just going to share with you the lack of logic here. All right, as a group, we undersave, underinsure. We convince ourselves right here. Let's see, we don't save enough. That's what he says. All right, so I'm just going to fast forward down here in just a second. We're going to go down to the bottom. He says we don't save enough, and then he says, right here. Hold on a second. I'm going to find it. Of course, you always got to have these people. Oh my goodness, we don't have enough money. He's good. It's just, all right, let me show you something here. Accusing Americans of not saving enough. And then he said, well, what's your best advice, Larry? He goes, let's see, I know a lot of people have student loans at the same time are investing in stocks. It's crazy. So what they've done is essentially borrow money to invest in the stock market. If you put in less in the stock market and you pay off that student loan, now you're getting a 5, maybe 7% rate of return. The same with mortgages. Because of mortgage interest rate differentials, mortgages are financial losers. They're not as bad as credit card balances or other debts, but there's still something to be avoided when possible. Paying off household debts, starting with the higher interest rate debts, is your best investment. All right. Larry never heard scarcity, which is interesting for an economist because scarcity, he says, we're not saving enough. Well, right here, we undersave. I mean, you can't pay off your mortgage and there's this thing called scarcity, Larry. There's only so many dollar bills that your family gets. If you have a mortgage, you can do one thing with that scarce dollar bill. You can pay off the mortgage or you can save. You can't do both. You can't pay off the mortgage and save more. I'm just sitting there thinking, this is insanity, man. And I like Larry. I like him. I interviewed him. I just say, what? So you're not saving up, Josh. I'm going to bash you. But don't save if you have a mortgage. I'm going to bash you. You're like, well, what is it, man? Do you want me to save more or pay off the mortgage? And then on top of that, he says you're not freeing. You're house poor, which means you have too much equity in your home. Now, Larry's a recent convert to the reverse mortgage thing, and the whole thing is just odd to me. Like, okay, so we have too much equity in our home, but we're not saving enough. And what we should do is we should use, instead of paying for stocks, invest in more to save enough. We should pay off the debt on the mortgage, and then you're going to bash us for having too much equity in the home. And I know what he's doing. He's saying basically you're leveraging. You're essentially borrowing to own the stocks. Well, that's 100%. You're borrowing against your home in order to invest in the markets, 100%. He says, well, you shouldn't do that because the stocks for the long term are saved for the long term is silly. I get all that, but it's like, geez, man. Like, what? People got to live there, Larry. So let's say you're renting. The same thing applies here. You're renting. You got to save or you got to rent. And Larry's like, you can do both. Well, how? You only have so much dollar bills. I'm like sitting there thinking, okay, I got property tax. Well, how dare you invest if you have property tax? It's weird to me, man. All right, so let's keep talking. Okay, and he says, as the economics approach to financial planning, behavioral economics. Oh my goodness, behavioral economics. Is that still pretty popular? I think it is. And here's what freaking ticks me off. The financial industry steers people looking for retirement planning into a fantasy land. Advisors ask, how much would you like to spend in retirement? Then they ask, how much are you saving? Not so much. Okay, let's put you in these high yield funds. All right, and I don't even understand what he's saying here. Your probability of success of not running out of money is higher because we're in these high yield funds, I guess. And your probability of success of failing is small. But failing really means the probability of starving to death. I don't get that at all. So I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me. So your probability of starving to death, no one's starving to death in the United States, Larry. No one is. So no one's sitting there saying your probability of failure, i.e. starving to death. I don't understand. That's weird. So what are the biggest mistakes people are making? And Larry says a lot of people are just not planning for retirement. They leave it to somebody else. They're assuming that Uncle Sam and their employer are taking care of them. How does Larry know that? I mean, this whole thing, a lot of people are doing this. How do you know that? And then he says they are surprised when they hit retirement and they find out they might not have enough money. How? How do you know that, Larry? I mean, are you actually working with people who say, I hit retirement, I don't have enough money, Larry? I mean, what? Second, there are lots of people that are not saving their 401k. Okay. Because they're paying off their mortgage. Taking advantage of the employer match is a simplest money magic trick. 100%. I don't have any qualm with that at all. But then he goes to say, in my opinion, the whole 401k retirement account experiment has failed. Why? Are people retiring too early? Of course they're retiring too early, he says. And this is not... The median wealth, this is where I bashed Larry before here as well. Boy. The median wealth for baby boomers is about $144,000. This is where Larry's making the mistake of median net worth versus median financial assets. The median wealth, and he's talking about retirement accounts, is $144,000, which is about 3 years of median spending. Median just simply means 50% of people spend more, 50% of the people spend less. All right, so the median net worth of baby boomers, and baby boomers is a big group of people, just FYI, and it ranges pretty significantly in ages too. But let's just go with it because I'm going to show you how silly this is. So 144,000, which is about 3 years of median spending. So basically saying the median spending for baby boomers is about $50,000, and they only have $150,000 in which to draw down to make that spending happen. All right. In a retirement that could last 35 to 40 years in some cases. So most boomers are retiring with too little money by a long shot for retirement. That money could last longer if they worked longer, of course. I think retirement for most people is financial suicide. All right, so again, let's just go into this. The median expenditure for old Larry here is saying it's $50,000 a year. $50,000 a year. You ready? Let's take that, our trusty calculator, divide by 12. And that's $4,000 a month, basically. I mean, just even if we look at the silliness of the average, not the median, the average Social Security benefit is what, $1,800 a month or something like that. I mean, if you're married filing jointly and you both have average Social Security benefits, I think it's 18. Maybe it's 15. It doesn't matter. Let's just say it's $1,500 a month. So we got Sue at $1,500 a month and Bob with $1,500 a month. That's $3,000 a month in the average Social Security benefit. The median expenditure is $4,000 a month. So we need $1,000 a month from our portfolio, which is Larry knows this because he is truly a Social Security expert. This is silly. I mean, it's silly. Like, I don't understand it. And then this is dumb too. At least 32% of employers don't sponsor retirement accounts. And they're employing a good chunk of Americans. So Larry, again, is making the fallacy that without a retirement account from your job, you can't save for retirement. It's freaking idiotic, man. There's these things called brokerage accounts. Anyone could open a brokerage account. You don't need to be part of a plan. Now, you might not get an employer match. Well, welcome to the world of small business there, Larry. A lot of small business entrepreneurs can't afford to pay for other people's retirement, never mind their health care. And then we have a lot of people with just more pressing needs. They got to pay for daycare. They got to pay for the mortgage. They don't feel like they can contribute. Interesting. So again, Larry is saying, see how illogical this is? They're not saving enough because they have more pressing needs. So stop saving, instead pay off your pressing needs. And then Larry's going to hit you over the head and not saving. That was stupid. Of course, then he says they got to pay for daycare. What does Larry not talk about? How about the mom stay home there, Larry? Why don't you guys ever talk about, I know you're in Boston and New York, that whole Northeast corridor. I know it. You know, most people there got to have two incomes because how dare a woman sacrifice her career for the kids and the family? That's anti-women. But of course, we can't define a woman. I get it. But you ever thought about saving the cost of healthcare or daycare by having the wife stay home to raise the kids? You ever thought about that? That's something to think about. I don't know. Just something out there. But no, I'm not going to talk about that because that would be, how dare you? I want to lean in, whatever that Sheryl Sandberg's name is. I want to lean in. See, the biggest mistake that people take is they take Social Security earlier than they should. We have about 6% of the people wait till 70 to take it. My estimate is that 85% should be waiting until 70 to take Social Security. 85. This is freaking idiotic, man. 85% of people should be waiting till 70 to take Social Security. As we just did earlier today, your life expectancy if you're 65 today is 17 years. That's life expectancy. That means the average person will live in for another 17 years. That's 82. Everybody and their mom knows the break-even range for Social Security is about 78 to 80. Thus, if you're average and you live till 82, you're only going to get 2 years of benefit of waiting to take Social Security at your 70. That's the average. That means a significant amount of people are going to die well before they would have reached their break-even point. 85% of people should take Social Security at 70, says Larry. I don't. This is freaking insane. 85%. A significant amount of people. A minority probably, I don't even know about that, but a significant amount of people aren't going to live beyond the break-even point. They're just not. Now we can talk about spousal and survivor benefit, all that, which in my case, but just, this is what frustrates me. This book, he did everything opposite. He's doing this article. He stopped the shaming of people who aren't saving enough, and now he's doing the exact same. He's doing it now. The idea that some people are going to live 35 to 40 years in retirement. This is freaking insanity, man. This is like me saying, I need earthquake insurance because we do have earthquakes on occasion here in Georgia, so I better buy some earthquake insurance. Yes, it's a 1 in, 500 chance that an earthquake could crack my foundation, but I better get it. That's just dumb. It's like saying, yes, a 1 in 500 chance I'll live to I'm 100, but I better plan like I'm going to. It's so freaking dumb. All right, so that way, if you wait until you're 70, you'll have more. We already know about that with Social Security. All right, so we talked about the best piece of financial advice is paying off your debts. I completely agree with that. Work on your financial health now so you can spend your money till the end. If you're rich, you don't want to put it in the stock market. The market could drop 50%, and it has. Okay, and I mean, whatever. What are you gonna do, man? You gotta sell books. I guess I don't know what else to say. It's just it's silly on his face. I wonder if let me just share something. When you are out there as a known entity, like I'm on YouTube, all right, you check your stats, and if you have a couple of days that go by without stats being high, it makes you like, ooh, maybe I literally can't help but doing this, and not everybody does it. I don't know if everybody does. I literally don't know. But I do. I say that a couple of days ago, like, man, my views were off. My watch time was off. I wonder if people get old and tired of me. You know what I'm saying? And so then it's easy to go back and do some clickbait articles or clickbait headlines to, like, retirement is financial suicide for most people, to generate some new activity and new exposure, new eyeballs. If it happens to coincide when you're writing a book, more power to you. But just, I don't get it, man. It's disappointing. No other way around that. But what be it as it may, I just wonder if Larry has felt he's not getting enough exposure as he should, and he's got a new book out, so he wants to scare people into. I don't know. I'm not being accusatory. I don't. This doesn't make any sense to me. Now, look, I've changed a lot. People change all the time, but I acknowledge. I said, no, I changed, man. Now I was on the Trump train big time. I'm not anymore. People say, oh, you're a liberal now. No, I've been arguing for wealth tax, for raising Social Security to payroll tax while I was heavy in the Trump train. 100%. 100%. And so you can say all day long, I've been arguing for legalization of drugs since 1993. 100%. I've been arguing for strict border enforcement as well. No amendment, no restrictions on Second Amendment. I'm 100% pro-life, all that stuff. But some things I have changed without question. I do not trust a medical establishment. I certainly don't trust the FBI, CIA anymore. And I don't trust the Republican Party as far as I could kick them. I mean, the Republican Party is idiotic and they're greedy, but the Democratic Party is evil. So at least I'll go with the Republican Party. But my days of saying, oh, anti-China, anti-Russia, America's a good guy. Well, Americans are the good guys, but our freaking leadership is not. That's for doggone sure because they're not American. We're run by the globalist cabal. I've changed on that, but I'm willing to admit it. It's just I don't get, I just don't get it. All right, we'll see. Love your thoughts.